Hello everybody, welcome back to the Binding of Isaac Afterbirth Plus with me Flik. First video of a new day, early morning recording. Sounding a little rough, it's not because I'm hungover, it is hay fever. 8K3Z V9OS, no wait, no that's a 0, V90S. Too many numbers that could be mistaken for letters. There is a tinted rock in here, so if I don't know if putting it right on the corner there will get it, so I don't want to take the chance. Oh hey, good. I know I've tested this theory before, but I've forgotten that if you reroll small rock, what pool does it draw items from? Because I don't think it's like the pool of everything, but I don't remember which pool it is. A little lust. Seems you're attracted to me because of the rock lodged in my forehead. I understand. Please drop the virus. Thank you. Would normally... Oh, that's a charged key. I shouldn't have picked that up yet. Would normally have rerolled the virus because the virus by itself is not very good, but because it sets us up for spawn. Spawn is the best idea for a transformation they put in, honestly. Because it also incentivizes you to take the risk on the turbo item experimental treatment, because even if it does mess with your stats, which it does 90% of the time, in a negative way I mean, you're still working towards that massive stat increase from getting spun. Also, if you heard that clatter in the background, I think it was the dog just kind of flopping into her bed behind me. I'll check in a second. Not long back our morning W. Ah, we can use that bomb to go get the other tinted rock, which I'm hoping is a spirit heart for the next floor. I did have a random tangent that I don't really have a segue to get into, because segues are banned. Probably used that exact line before. I think maybe one of my favourite conspiracy theories about the segue is that the car companies conspired with the government to make segways registered unsafe so that they couldn't be used in place of bikes and cars, etc. Bumfriend, hell no. That is not rage, that is anemic, I think. Oh, I really wish I'd left that charged key now. Might have to end up taking that. We'll see. I'm just curious what's here first. Like, I enjoy a good why did I take that now? Because I was thinking about what I was going to say, that's why. I like a good conspiracy theory as much as the next person. And doesn't it make sense? Doesn't it just make sense that car companies wouldn't want the Segway to become a thing? It's like that episode of South Park where Mr. Garrison creates the... I've forgotten what it was called. But it's the circular thing that goes super fast, except then you also have to, like, perform fake fellatio while getting it in the rear because, you know, they were a lot more mature back then. And it does kind of fit, but also the person who invented the Segway died on it by running it off a bridge by mistake. Which probably also didn't count in its favour in terms of, like, imagine a checklist, a safety checklist, and they're kind of doing ticks in the no column and ticks in the yes. Has anyone ever died while piloting this in an environment you would think is safe? Tick yes, and then addendum, it was the creator of the thing, and they still managed to get themselves killed. Little Steven isn't particularly good either. We can afford a battery. Let me see if there is a battery. There is. Oh, but there's half price humbling bundle. Give me a penny. I can't even get half price humbling. Why can't I get that penny that's up there? They were blocked off. I don't have a rock. Okay, maybe the pill that's apparently in here. I can't get to it, can I? No, there was a tinted rock too. Okay, hang on. We can fadangle something. I could buy the bomb and get the tinted rock, which in turn would get me the pill. And the pill could be something that helps me, but that doesn't really help me with my item problem. I will try that. We could actually get enough money from the poops. If we get super lucky. Maybe get petrified poop on one of the first ones. No. That's okay. We did in fact get 2 pennies. But we wouldn't have got those without buying the bomb anyway. So I guess we're just going to take anemic. We're just going to take little Steven. And that is our first floor in 5 minutes. Good God. I play this game way too slowly. Wait, I could reroll it with money. No, I couldn't. You suck. Oh, it carries a +5 range bonus? I don't know why it does, but it does. That's okay. So I kind of accidentally went off on a non-tangent on the segue thing, just by talking about segues. I wanted to talk about the Batman original series because I've been rewatching it because I bought the DVD collection of the 4 volumes. It only ever got 2 seasons. I thought it got 4 seasons, but it's not. It's 4 volumes across 2 seasons, and season 1 is 60 episodes long. And the reason it's 60 episodes long is because back then in the early 90s you had to have at least 60 episodes to get syndication. So that is why they kind of definitely just churned them out. And the reason I wanted to mention it is because they were ice cold in one of them. One I vaguely remember watching when I was a kid. They got Adam West as a guest voice on the Batman original animated cartoon thing. And they got him to play someone called the Grey Ghost, which is a TV superhero from the late 60s, early 70s, who's washed up and can't get any work because he's been typecast as a costumed crusader. It's like they're getting Adam West to play Adam West. And I don't think it was mean-spirited, but at the same time, it must have hurt, because this was 91, I think it was. This was before he was a regular voice on Family Guy. He presumably did have other work after being the original Batman in the live-action TV series. But he was typecast. He did struggle to get work. That is Scorpio. That'll do. So this Gemini that is Scorpio. My apologies. So yeah, they have him essentially playing himself with the new Batman. And he has to play this character who's all very sad at first because he can't get any work. And everyone barely remembers now the hero he played. It does kind of have a happy ending, sort of, because he ends up teaming up with Batman. Because the villain of the episode is using the old TV show as inspiration, so he wanted some help working it out. And there's a great line where Adam West is taken to the Batcave and he sees it's like based on the cave or whatever, the base for the Grey Ghost. And he says, so it wasn't all in vain then. So that was nice. Doesn't really help Adam West in real life, although I guess, that doesn't matter anymore now that he's dead, but still. I like Adam West, I like him a lot. He has a really, really good voice, or had a really, really good voice. And I think I had the same reaction to that episode as I did when I first saw it when I was a kid, because I knew who Adam West was. I wasn't alive for the first airing of the original live-action television series with... Ooh, I could get rid of Little Steven, huh? Interesting. With Adam West and Burt Ward. But I saw reruns, and I appreciate it. Little Delirium. Interesting. Not sure if good, but interesting. Let's go to our shop as well, because we've got an abundance of keys. So I thought that was, like, at first I was listening, I was like, is that Adam West? And as I listened more and more, I was like, yeah, that's definitely Adam West. Because you've got to remember, if you have been watching Family Guy, or had been watching Family Guy, and eventually did become a fairly regular guest, you're used to hearing him as he sounded just prior to his death. Whereas if you're watching the original series of Batman animated cartoon, that was 30 years ago. Almost. Not quite, but almost 30 years ago. So they sounded a lot different. Like when I first started watching the very first episode, I was like, did they not get Kevin Conroy to do the voice for Batman in the pilot episode? Because it didn't quite sound like him. It sounded a bit like him, but it didn't sound like him. And of course then I had to remind myself, oh, I'm used to hearing him in like the Arkham games and whatnot. I barely remember. His voice hasn't changed a huge amount, but he does sound different when he was 30 years younger. The worst one though, well, not worst in terms of like anything was bad, the one that was hardest for me to notice or realise it was actually who it should be was Mark Hamill. Because his Joker voice, I'm so used to it from the Arkham games and stuff he's done later in life when he's playing the Joker, that I didn't think it was him voicing the Joker in the first few episodes that he appears in the original series. Because his voice, especially his Joker voice, sounds a hell of a lot different when he was 30 years younger. I think it sounds better now. Like, his performance as the Joker in any of the Arkham games is a million times better than in that cartoon. But I think that's also largely because he's playing him a bit more sinister. He's a lot more goofy in the cartoon. And that's despite the cartoon being surprised. Like, no one ever dies in the cartoon, or if they do, it's always off screen rather. There's never any blood. People shoot guns all the time, but they do it in ways that will never kill anybody. But despite that, oh, we'll take that for damage. Despite that, there is some adult themes, and also in one episode, I think it was the origin of Two-Face, or maybe Clayface. No, wait, you know what it was? It was the origin of Mr. Freeze. When Batman finds the tape of what happened to Victor Freeze to turn him into Mr. Freeze, like he got stabbed in the back by his employer, he wanted to save his wife and couldn't. Like, Batman in a cartoon from the early 90s just goes, oh God. It's like, you can't say God on TV anymore, especially not in America. Not in a cartoon. So that wouldn't have been allowed. There isn't any swearing, it's just there is language that you just wouldn't see because we're all delicate snowflakes now and it's not allowed. I was surprised at just like how good some of the episodes were, because I was scared a little bit, because I could have just watched them on... Oh, there's a library. I could have just watched them on like Amazon Video on Demand. And I almost did, like once, maybe a year or 2 years ago. I very nearly did. And the thing that stopped me was I really loved that cartoon when I was a kid. I love Kevin Conroy, I love Mark Hamill. They're obviously fantastic in the Arkham games. But I was like, this is a cartoon from the 90s. It's not going to be as good as I remember it. This is nostalgia. This is nostalgia from me being a kid. It's not just that it was a pretty good show. In rewatching it, hang on, I can tell you exactly how many. Not in this room though, because I'll get sucked into the spikes. I am 7 episodes into the second volume, so in total that would put me at like 30 something episodes total. And it's really, really good. I'm impressed at how clever some of the episodes are. It's not always just like the Adam West live action Batman. It wasn't just villain of the week. Like, oh, which villain is it this time, Batman? Oh, we've been captured halfway through the episode, but then in the day, or at the end of the day, we'll still win. There's a lot of clever episodes. Surprisingly so. Like the origin of Two-Face, a big focus of that episode is his wife still loving him despite the fact he's disfigured. There's an episode which was really well done where Batman is in it, but it's not told from the perspective of Batman, it's told from the perspective of 3 cops, all giving different accounts of the same event where they all showed up at different times. And like they all have ulterior motives for the things they're saying and doing. Like one cop doesn't like Batman, so he doesn't want to admit that Batman saved him. So he kind of tells the story in a way that incriminates another cop. They arrived late, so they're not sure what's going on. There's all this other stuff going on, and it's really well told. It's you'll know him from the games if you played Arkham games. Detective Bullock. He's kind of like the antithesis of... Well, not the antithesis. He's like Commissioner Gordon in the sense that he's an honest cop, except he's a bit more... He skirts the rules more. And he really doesn't like Batman, because he doesn't like vigilante justice. In the video games, he just wants to kind of kill Batman, kinda. He's only predominantly seen in Arkham Origins, so he's in the bad one. But yeah, he's actually a much more nuanced character in the cartoon. So he's a good cop, he doesn't always follow the rules. And he just doesn't like Batman, because he doesn't like vigilante justice, which is fair enough. There was another good episode about an old mafia boss who is getting replaced by a new mafia boss who's kind of muscling his territory. And the theme of the episode is Batman finds out his past, finds out that he had this friend who became a priest, and there was a traumatic event between the two of them, so he tries to get the mafia boss to just give in and stop being a mafia boss to avoid the gang war, and also hopefully get some information on the new guy. There's all these great twists and turns in it where, like, the old mafia boss thinks the new mafia boss has kidnapped his son. Turns out he's in a drug clinic because he OD'd on the drugs his father is pushing. That's not the good one, right? That's the bad one. Either way. I'll take double brimstone instead. That's much better. So it's about kind of like the semi-redemption of this mafia boss, even though Batman isn't doing it for altruistic reasons. He wants information on the new guy who's more powerful. But it's done in such an impressively clever way compared to more recent things. And I say more recent loosely. I'm talking about like cartoons I still watched in the year 2000, let's say. It impressed me, and it's no wonder it won a bunch of Emmys. It was a cartoon for kids, but it also had this maturity to it that impressed me, or impresses me now. There's still a lot of goofiness. I'm trying to think of specific examples. There's an episode called I've Got Batman in My Basement, and he gets knocked out by the Penguins, so some kids rescue him and keep him in their basement. And they want to be junior detectives or something like that. It's just a whole bunch of silliness. Endearing, but still silly. Yeah, I think I've been going a little deep on deals, so we'll finally say no to one. I will go to the shop because I can't reroll Pageant Boy. We'll try and keep ourselves alive here, only to briefly talk about the run. But yeah, if you weren't alive in the really early 90s, or maybe you weren't, you just didn't bother watching Batman the original cartoon. What is the correct name? Because I keep on wanting to say something different. Hang on. Batman the Animated Series. That is the full name. Although eventually, once Robin was more predominant, I think it was renamed Batman and Robin, the original series, or the animated series. As another weird thing, I feel like some of the episodes, if you're watching them chronologically, they are shown out of production order. Meaning that... Hang on, do any of these teach us to fly? No. That's unfortunate. Also did not realise it was a library. There's still rooms to clear. I'm going to try and get more keys, I think. See what we can do here. There totally was a battery as well. What was I saying? Yeah, because the very first episode of the show, that feels normal enough. And as I was saying, it felt like, it sounded like some of the voices they weren't set in stone yet, so it was a bit like a pilot episode. Episode 2, though, is a Christmas special with the Joker. And then Robin's also there with no introduction. And that felt like one that was taken out of order just because whenever it happened to first air, it put it at Christmas time. So they were like, yeah, we've got to have a Christmas episode for Christmas. But they don't really establish Robin being around. Eventually they do. Eventually it's the case that he's at college in that timeline. So most of the time he isn't there to help Batman, but every so often he can do the Robin thing. And then eventually they also go into his backstory. Which also reminded me, there is technically a timeline where you could say that Dick Grayson has a reason for being angry at Batman. Because we've been making fun of the... Oh, wow. We've been making fun of the Titans trailer, which shows Dick Grayson being an absolute asshole. Oh, I already went into the shit. This is what happens when I focus too much on what I'm talking about. Yeah, it shows Dick Grayson being an asshole and he hates Batman. It's like, that is entirely out of his character. He would never act like that. But there is a timeline, or there is a series of events that they might use for this upcoming movie where Dick Grayson has a reason to be angry at Bruce Wayne. And it's an episode from the cartoon. It's an episode where Batman finds out a mobster's back in town, and it turns out it's someone using an alias, and who it actually is the person that killed Dick Grayson's parents. So he wants to go do it alone because he doesn't want Dick to find out. Let's re-roll them again. Dick does find out, gets mad at Batman and goes off and tries to get his own justice. So in that series of events, you could twist that slightly. Of course the Bible... Oh wait, no, I have another key. But I don't have another battery. Unless there was one in the shop. I sincerely hope there was. Because we've taken so many books out of the rotation. It's going to be 4 items sitting here for us. Not that we really need them because the run's going fantastic, but still. So yeah, maybe for this Titan movie you could do that, like, Batman took down... What was the gangster's name? Johnny Zuko? His surname is Zuko for sure, but I don't remember his first name. And that maybe made Robin resent him. Also, I'm going to take Chaos, because then that means we're definitely not getting books when I reroll. No, we don't want that. We'll take that, thanks. So if they did something like that for the Titans movie, at least that would be the one justifiable excuse I can think of it being legit for Dick Grayson hating Bruce Wayne. I can't think of any other scenario. Ooh. Okay. Oh, we don't have another reroll, so it's not like I can be picky choosy here. Okay. Right, okay, that was a reasonable floor. We got a lot of items. That's the one positive thing we can say about it. Now let's get the hell out of here. If you don't like Batman, this is going to be a very boring commentary episode for you, because it's just on my mind. I've been getting very into it recently, so I'm reliving part of my childhood as well by rewatching this cartoon. Chances are this Christmas I'm going to replay at least Arkham City again, like I did a couple of years ago. Although I played through all the Arkham games that time. I think this time we could probably do with skipping Origins and Night. Might do the original as well. I don't know, but I like replaying them because they're so good. I'm trying to think of other examples of. I know we talked about it in a Monster Hunter episode, but I know a lot of you don't watch the Monster Hunter episodes. But just how bad does that Titan trailers look? Titans trailer, there we are, look. It's embarrassing. The best comment I saw in reaction to it was just someone asking, "Who is this for?" Like, that's such a genuine question. Like, who is that for? Who wants to see an edgy Dick Grayson as opposed to the light-hearted, joke-telling, Spider-Man-esque Dick Grayson? It just makes no damn sense. Ooh. Oh, incidentally, if you aren't going to watch the original cartoon, the finale to Batman trying to arrest that mobster without telling Robin. Robin assumes, as the audience does probably, that Batman is worried that he'll fly off the handle, do something he regrets, like for instance killing the gangster rather than arresting him. But then Batman says, no, that isn't it at all. And he says something along the lines of, he stole your parents, I was worried he would take you as well from me, something soppy like that. It's like Batman just didn't want anything to happen to Dick because Dick is basically his son. The episode does a really good job, well, it's a two-part episode, but it does a really good job establishing that as well. It shows the accident, shows Bruce Wayne taking him in, and then it shows him kind of just being a little bit distant because he's Batman, and then eventually deciding that he should tell him. I like that dynamic. I don't mean in terms of like the dynamic duo. I just mean I like the dynamic between Bruce Wayne and Dick Grayson. He's a lot more interesting of a character after he stopped being the original Robin, I feel. And there are so many good comic books as well, with Dick being like Nightwing next to Batman, or having to take the place of Batman temporarily for various reasons. But we talk about that a lot on Monster Hunter, so I don't want to go into any more specifics. I will just say also, when I ordered the DVD collection of the original cartoon, one of the suggested purchases was Gotham by Gaslight on Blu-ray. And that is a comic that people kept on suggesting I read. When I, probably in an Isaac episode actually, was like, here's a bunch of the very notoriously well done Batman comics I've read. Are there any that you can suggest? Because I've kind of ran out of ones that are well known for being super, super good. And one that came up an awful lot was Gotham by Gaslight. I'd never got around to reading it, but I saw, oh hey, they released it on Blu-ray movie 2 years ago or 1 year ago. I think it was 2017 actually, yeah. Please don't be something that will ruin this. Okay, that's fine. I should have definitely taken the tail on the previous floor, but whatever. So Gotham by Gaslight is a reimagining of the Batman story where it's set in Victorian era. I assume it's supposed to be Victorian era London. Not London. London, because the way they talk, they say bugger and stuff, which Americans don't, and yet they still have dollars rather than pounds. I don't know. Either way, it's Victorian era Gotham, and it's Batman versus Jack the Ripper. And it was an enjoyable, like, hour and a bit animated movie. It was fine. I liked it. It doesn't have Kevin Conroy doing Batman. It has some guy called Bruce something. Bruce Anderson, maybe? Armstrong? Something like that. And he sounded to me a bit like a young Kevin Conroy. But because he was kind of doing an impersonation, maybe not even on purpose, maybe accidentally, he was kind of just doing an impersonation. It came across to me like he had no range because he was focused purely on trying to sound like Kevin Conroy. But other than that, it was fine. And the movie itself was good. I correctly guessed the two red herrings for who Jack the Ripper is. Didn't follow it enough to get it. Well, I didn't really also guess, but I was like, yeah, that's a red herring. That's not going to be Jack the Ripper. That's a red herring. That's not going to be Jack the Ripper. I never stopped to think, well, if those are all red herrings, who is Jack the Ripper? So I wouldn't say I was pleasantly surprised when I worked out who it was, or rather when it's hard not to realise based on the evidence provided. After the fact, I read up on the storyline to the original graphic novel, and it is quite different. To the extent that the person who is Jack the Ripper is entirely different. So if you've read the comic of Gotham by Gaslight and you're wondering whether or not it's worth reading or rather worth watching the animated movie version, yeah, the story is different. It was suitably enjoyable. Also, if you do end up watching it, I want to know if it's on purpose that there's like 3 urchins, like homeless orphans that work for some bad people, and then Batman kind of tries to save them as a B story to the main story being Jack the Ripper. A bomb followed me. I don't know if it's on purpose, but to me it came across like they were kind of facsimiles of Dick, Jason, and Tim. There we go. I blanked on Tim. Sorry. That's the impression I got, because their personalities kind of were similar as well. There was the by the books one, there was the kind of sarcastic, cheerful one, and then there was the one who was a little bit dodgy and wanted to do crimes. That's how it came across to me, anyway. I tried to, when the end credits were running, I was trying to, 25 cents for 15 cents. I'm not sure about that deal. Okay, there is a battery, we'll use that. I tried to check the credits for specifically whether they were voiced that, and I don't remember seeing them. I don't remember seeing them being mentioned at all, not even like just being called Urchin 1, Urchin 2. But one of the one who wanted to just do crimes, they were ginger-haired, and at least in one timeline, this is how much of a Batman nerd I am now. I can differentiate between different timelines. In one specific timeline, Jason Todd is ginger, and he specifically mentions at one point that when he became Robin, Bruce Wayne got him to dye his hair to be the same colour as Dick Grayson's, just to make criminals think it was still him. I don't know if that's true in every iteration, I just know that it's definitely true in one. I don't know if it was the New 52. Shoo! Shop restock, you say? I think I've exhausted my Batman interests at the moment in terms of like things I just had on my mind to talk about. Bullet points, Gotham by Gaslight, good animated movie. Don't know about the quality of the graphic novel, all I can say is a bunch of people recommended it to me, so it must... Oh, let's go to the boss trap room. So it mustn't be bad. And it was enjoyable, although short. The original animated cartoon from the 90s holds up. Absolutely holds up. Very good. Honestly, on some levels, I appreciate it more as an adult than I would have as a kid. As a kid, it was just a superhero thing. As an adult, you can see the nuance that the writers put into it. How do I make this restock if it's already empty? I don't think I can. Oh wait, well... If I reroll, what happens? Nope, can't. That's fine. Is this the mall floor? Yes. We're done. Hey, kinda wanted to speed up. Let's just focus on Isaac now for the last 10 minutes or so, because we're definitely going to win with double brimstone, an okay tier rate for having brimstone. Maybe not focusing on the run wasn't a bad thing after all. Because I honestly wasn't. I was just kind of... I was in full automated mode when I was trying to think of Batman things to talk about. I don't remember him being my favourite hero when I was younger. When I was younger, I think I said that. But I think I specifically remember talking to a friend and being like, why would you pick Batman as your favourite superhero? He doesn't have any superpowers. Which is true. Yeah. He's not a superhero. He's a vigilante. There is a difference. But it's only in later years where I appreciate more that he isn't a superhero, because it makes the stories more interesting. I've said it before and I'll say it again. My favourite Batman stories are ones where he's being a detective, not where he's being a superhero. And there's not nearly enough of them as you get into the newer comics. Like, all the really good detective stories are from the 70s and 80s. Sadly. And as I've read more of the New 52 because of the subscription service I've been using, they are vastly just about Batman punching or being punched. Which is a great shame. Because I love the artwork of the newer stuff. But the stories are just very lacking. And you could make an argument for it being like, well, every other story's already been done. With a detective story, it doesn't need to be about one of his rogue gallery of villains. It could just be some guy. As long as it's done in an interesting way. Like, I don't know if he became a recurring villain, whether in the cartoon or in the comics. What's he called, even? I think he's called, like, the Timekeeper, or... that sounds too grandiose, maybe it's not that. It's just, it's some guy who's on a train, and he does everything by the clock. And then someone on the train convinces him to take his lunch 15 minutes later. And as a result, this cascading of events happen that result in him losing his business because he misses a court date, etc. Drives him insane, so he decides to become a villain obsessed with time, specifically to get revenge against the guy who ruined his life. It's a dumb villain, and really he should only be a one-shot villain, but it's still an interesting premise. Just one bad day, to kind of coin the Joker's point of view regarding insanity. One bad day can just turn you into a villain. Ow. This is definitely reminiscent of that time playing Gungeon, I think it was. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was Gungeon, where it was a live recorded episode, and I just spent the whole thing talking about it to my chat. And afterwards, I'm sure there's people who were just smiling politely or just watching for support, but there was at least one person in the comments who was like, yeah, I didn't watch this episode because I don't want to hear you talking about a book for an hour. And I imagine this time it's going to be similar, where it's, I don't want to hear you talk about Batman for 50 minutes. Or 40 minutes, let's say. No. We are going to speed up here, so I think 40 minutes is fair. And that's fair enough, but honestly, if I didn't have that to talk about, and it's been on my mind, because after I finish this video, I'm going to do some more videos, 2 or 3 more only. Then I'm going to go back to watching Batman for the rest of my day until the stream. So that's why it was on my mind, and if I wasn't talking about that, honestly, I'd just be talking about Isaac, and this is a run where it's not required because we're doing fine. It's going to be a win. I don't even know what win number it's going to be, it's just going to be a win, and that's fine. And I think in the past when I've asked, like, do you prefer if I talk Isaac or do you prefer when I go off on tangents, the majority of people who answered were just like, do what you want to do. And that is the best answer. As the commentator, I get to pick what I want to do, and then as the listener, you get to pick what you want to do. That is a perfectly fair exchange of ideas. There isn't enough compromise, or urge to compromise on the internet. It's always extremes. I hear stuff I disagree with all the time, on Twitter, Reddit, wherever. I'm not inclined to start an argument. And my preferred... at this stage, let's take this. Actually, with Brimstone, this might not do literally anything, but whatever, we'll still take it. My preferred solution to arguing on the internet is not bother, because I don't see any intrinsic value in arguing on the internet. I genuinely don't think... I think it's a waste of time. At the same time, though, I'm not going to just agree with somebody that they're right if I think they're wrong. So what my usual stance is just to walk away. It's like, okay, you think what you think, I'll think what I think, whatever. And I wish there was more of that. More of that and less of desperately trying to prove that you're right for something that doesn't matter. Hell, even if it is a subject that matters, like say you're arguing with someone over the, I don't know, the politics, some form of politics. I don't want to be any more specific than that. That's an important subject, but it's being held in the internet equivalent of a playground. A playground filled with armchair quarterbacks. To Americanize my simile a little bit. It's like there's still no point. You're discussing a topic that definitely should be discussed, but not in a forum where it should be done. So don't bother. That might come across as mildly nihilistic, but I'm not meaning... I don't mean don't bother in the existence sense. I just mean by all means have that conversation, just not on the internet, on Twitter, on Facebook, on Reddit. These are not places to have good conversations. They're places to look up funny memes and pictures of cats. That's what they're for. And doggos. So a lot less doggos. Cats definitely have the majority. Especially when it comes to meme pictures. Oh, that reminds me, when Sora's ears are sticking right up on end, but she doesn't do that often. One of them tends to flop also, but every so often if she's really listening to something, both of her ears will not just like poke straight out, they'll poke straight up. And if she's panting while she does it, she looks exactly like that meme of the husky that tells a joke. I don't know if you know the one I mean, where it's like, there's a husky with its nose hidden behind a toy. And the setup to the meme is always like it's telling a joke. And then in the next picture, it's moved its head away from behind the toy and it's just got its mouth open huge and its eyes open huge, so it looks like it's embracing the punchline. It's always a terrible joke. Like, she looks exactly like that, and every time I notice, it makes me laugh every time. Because it's adorable. There's no way in hell I'd be able to get a picture of it, though. It's way too instant, and she wouldn't do it if I had a camera in my hand. Or my phone in my hand. So we just have to take my word for it, but it's funny every time. That was a little strange. Another thing she does, which is less funny because it's her being scared, but if something really gives her a fright when we're out on W's, she'll kind of do that thing that happens in cartoons where her legs will go super fast for a few seconds before she gets any traction and starts moving. And even though it's a shame because she's doing it because she's scared, I can't help laughing because it looks so funny. It looks exactly like it does in the cartoons. The little legs all just going like nuts and just not moving because there's no traction. It's funny. It's funny a little bit. It's still a shame, but it's also funny. Hopefully she'll grow out of being terrified at every loud noise. Can but hope. And I do hope, because I hate that my dog doesn't enjoy our walks. As I think I've said recently in an episode, so we're not going to trudge over old ground. Where have I not been? Oh. I found 2 dead ends, of course. That will not help with this curse, but thanks anyway. We just need to find Isaac, get down to the chest. No, not envy. I'm amazed that fire to my right didn't shoot me. Maybe it did and one of my followers blocked it. Because I had more than enough time to fire once. I'm still open to suggestions about other Batman comics that are worth reading. But keep in mind, chances are I'm going to be beholden to the service I subscribe to. Where the hell have I not been now then, if this is a dead end too? Down here? No, I came from that way. It has to be up here. What the... Where the hell is... Did I go down here? Oh, there we go. I found every possible dead end first, of course. Speed up. Yeah, this service is just sending out the volumes that they've selected to be part of the collection. Again, mostly from the New 52. Not exclusively, but mostly. Which certainly has the best art style, just not the best stories. So although I'm kind of beholden to them, I'm sure there's ones that they probably wouldn't include. Like, I'm certain they wouldn't include Gotham by Gaslight. Unless they were doing some kind of like special, I suppose. Ooh. I wonder if that room actually counted as being finished. Isaac. Run out of things to talk about, Isaac. Gotta save my brain power for a gungeon run. Oh, there you are. Good. Thanks for hitting me before you landed on me instantly. Great mechanic, that. Right, let's destroy the Isaac. Consume my pants, etc. Oh, you want my hot take on the newest best meme? And when I say newest, it will already be out of date by the time this episode goes live. The car salesman meme. I love it. Slaps hand on roof. This baby has blanked so many blanked. All the variants I've seen of that have been funny. Although granted I haven't checked Reddit for them. There's probably a lot of low effort bad ones there. Oh, I can fight Mega Satan. What is this again? Oh, Eden's Soul. So we just get a bunch of items when it charges up? Might as well open the way to Mega Satan. Not a fantastic selection there. I'm just debating whether or not I'll fight Mega Satan instead. Yeah, sure. Just fight Mega Satan. Stay still. Oh, wow. Got him down to the first phase there. Pretty quick. What hit me? What hit me there? There was no creep because he hadn't moved on to the square I was on yet. I call shenanigans. You're dead. Yes. Unless there was creep from some other source. That's what it could have been. Oh. That's one way to get him down to the next form. Phase 2 is easier than Phase 1. Mostly because of the constant spawns. Gotta remember I can't fly. That was the thing. Ooh, nearly. Wait, what? Did he summon that? I'd never seen him summon Larry Jr. What the hell was that? Why did he summon Larry Jr. of all things? It's almost at phase 2 now that the angels are out in force. Oh, that's his beam. Nope, no it's not. No, it's phase 2. What are my bombs like right now, anyway? I totally forgot I had pip bombs. I also totally forgot that they split apart, though. Thank you, Gimpy. That's probably going to save the day. He's almost dead. A little bit dicier than I would have liked. Don't need to see that intro. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed listening to me talk for 40 odd minutes about Batman. Thank you for watching, and I will see you next time for something different as the topic of discussion. Until then, ta-ta for now.